Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. Introversion and extroversion, a frequently heard term, I believe. And there is a subtle corporate bias that extroverts, the chatty people who speaks more, are the better employees as compared to the introverts who speaks less. Similarly, it's a common perception that extroverts are better leaders. Before exploring this further, let us try to define how introversion and extroversion is defined. There can be many dimensions. I will try to cover 3 dimensions on which extroversion and introversions differ. One is the energy recharge or inward or outward facing equation. For extroverts, the energy recharge is from outside. They recharge the energy by meeting with people, in social gathering, speaking to people. There's an energy recharge for them. And when we see introverts, after a social gathering or meeting with people, they need to have solitary time, the time with themselves to recharge themselves. Small talk is very difficult, is exhausting to introverts. They speak less, as I said. This is one of the most important dimensions on which introverts and extroverts differ. The other thing I would like to cover which differs introverts and extroversion is stimulation equation, calm or commotion. Introverts are more sensitive to different kind of stimulation, whether auditory, visual. They are more sensitive to that particular type of stimulation. Susan Cain, in his book Quiet, gave an example. There was an experiment conducted with introverts and extroverts participants. They were asked to play a word game with headphones on their ears, and they have the opportunity to vary the levels of noise from that headphones. They can adjust it upwards, downwards, as their liking. Guess who opted for higher sound levels, noise levels? Extroverts. Perfect, very, very right. Extroverts. And another variation to this study, when they were asked to not use that level which were comfortable to them. If they were using a higher level, they were asked to lower that, and if they were using lower, they were asked to use higher levels. Performance degrades. So if introvert was using lower level, performing better, and when they were asked to use higher level, their performance deteriorates. Similarly, extroverts, same thing for extroverts, lower levels, their performance degrades. I believe everybody is aware of open space, open office concept, where there are no cubicles, no rooms. So if I apply that study to that particular thing, this will be a huge productivity loss. Headphones provide this solution. Extroverts can have their high noise environment, music or whatever, and introverts can enjoy their solitary time. The next dimension which differentiates introverts and extroverts is depth and breadth of their networks. Extroverts know a lot of people, but since the networks are very broad, they do not have a deep connection with them. Introverts have narrow network, and since they have lesser number of people, they have deep connection with them. Breadth and depth of network is the very important differentiator for introverts and extroverts. Introverts are enthusiastic, chatty, outgoing, adventurous, whereas introverts are speaks less, listens more, engage in activities, quiet activities like reading and writing more. Introverts and extroverts both have unique strengths, and these are equally valuable in different contexts, different scenarios. Research has shown that team which consists of introverts and extroverts performs best because they control their tendencies. The weaknesses of extroverts are controlled by introverts, and when introverts go into continuous thinking cycle, extroverts correct them. There are another type of people, ambiverts, who operates in the middle of the extroversion and extroversion spectrum, and they perform best because whatever strengths they require, whatever qualities they require, they can use in that particular scenario. Introverts are better leaders sometimes, since they listen more, they listen attentively, they don't interrupt, they allow people to act on their ideas. So they are better leaders. These are good qualities for a leader. Some big examples of leaders, introverts: Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Barack Obama. These are all self-proclaimed introverts. So both have their strengths, and people can use their strengths in different scenarios. I would like to conclude by a quote from Susan Cain. There is zero correlation between best talker and having the best ideas. Mr. Toastmaster.